look 22. You do. I mean, you look very young.
No, thank you.
I was thinking, this is it. There's no way out. It was a feeling of hopelessness.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. I hope everybody had a good end to their 2021. I know it was a very difficult year for a lot of us, but hopefully 2022 is going to bring us many blessings. The first of which is a new Big Ed episode. That's right. As you can see from that insane intro, we're about to have a pretty crazy episode to react to. Now, first things first, Big Ed is taking his love internationally once again. We know this absolutely just worked out for him so well last time when he was going, over to the Philippines to meet Rose. This time, he's meeting up with Koari, or Coyote as he calls her, in Mexico. And there is going to be quite a bit of insane happenings while they're there. I don't want to spoil too much, but you obviously saw a preview just now. Without any further ado, though, let's get right on into it with just a quick clip of Ed talking with his friend and kind of telling him his plan of going overseas while buying some gifts for Koari. His friend pretty much has the exact same reaction that we all have after hearing this news that Ed is trying out international love once again.
She lives in Mexico. So we're going to Colima. It just happened real fast.
And that friend's response, like I said, is pretty much exactly how I would react to this. I mean, you hear that your friend is finally getting over this last girl that he went way too fast with and just broke his heart again. And now he's planning on doing the same thing, moving entirely too fast and going to another country to meet this girl. Oh, another bonus is he's bringing his mom and Teddy. I mean, of course, where could Ed go without his mother and Teddy? If anything, this is kind of sweet because his mom gets to go to Mexico, which is a trip that she has been wanting to take for a long time, and he doesn't have to find someone to dog sit for him. But still, I kind of feel like this friend, like, dude, why are you signing yourself up for further pain at this point? Like, clearly you are not emotionally mature enough to have a lot of, good relationships. So why are you making it extra challenging by trying to be with someone that is from an entirely different country that you don't really speak the same language as? Like, Ed talks a little bit in this episode about how he knows Spanish, but very rudimentary Spanish, you know what I mean? So that language barrier is definitely going to come up between them, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Let's just have high hopes for the future. So he's able to hop on the plane with his mother and they head over to Mexico. Now let's see what they're like when they touch down and catch up with them here.
Who would tell you, Ed, that your friend would find a beautiful friend for you like this?
Yeah, but Mom, I want more than a friend. I have too many friends. I want a wife.
And his mom here is even like, yeah, obviously you want a wife. What I'm saying is this person is going to start out as being your friend and you need to have a, solid relationship with them and build on that foundation of, not taking things too quickly. Meanwhile, Ed's like, Mom, I flew over here to Mexico to get a wife. Shut up if you're not talking about wives. I don't care about friends anymore. I'm sick of being friend zoned. I need a wife now.
And I have to be careful. So the one thing I'm worried about is that she has a really good relationship with her child's father. So I'm worried about that. And then
so just as I think that Ed is making progress, he regresses back to his old ways of just massive insecurity. That's like one of the main things that gets in the way of him building and nurturing good relationships. Now, I'm not a freaking relationship expert myself, but that's just my own observation. Here you see a little bit of his insecurities creep back where he says, I'm worried that she has a good relationship with the father of her child who she's no longer with anymore. That is a ridiculous statement. If anything, you should be happy, especially as a divorced parent yourself, to know that she is maintaining a good relationship for the sake of their kid. You don't need to be worrying that she's gonna go back to hooking up with her ex. I know that did kind of happen with Liz, so you're hurting that way, but if you're gonna be trusting this person and trying to get in a relationship with them, you need to have that honesty there and know that they're not gonna be cheating on you while you're going back to America. Like, clearly their relationship didn't work out and they're trying to stay together for the kid. That's about it. You don't need to be a nervous wreck about everything, Ed.
So I'm kind of freaked out because I don't want to make the same mistakes I made with Rose, and I don't want to get my heart broken.
Oh my gosh, this man is he's so hilarious. I don't know what it is. I think there's something about just the fact that Ed was found by this TV program and we're following his life. It's just so beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, he seems like a person that would not otherwise exist in real life, but he does, and TLC really hit a freaking gold mine by finding this dude. So let's fast forward now. It's the next day. It took them a long time to get to Mexico, so he isn't actually seeing her right as soon as he touches down, but today is the day where he's finally going on a first date with her.
That's a ticket. Red. Red's a nice color. Red says fire. Hopefully she thinks I'm on fire.
Yeah, hopefully, Ed. If not, that is a long trip for you to, travel just to have an awkward first date that goes terribly wrong, and then you never speak to this woman again, which is kind of what I'm expecting to happen. But, I like the strategic color choice here. He's not thinking, oh, do I look good in this? Is this fashionable? No, he's just like, it's red. That means fire. She's going to think I'm hot. Let's go. Like the inner workings of this man's mind make no sense to me.
I've been through 2 failed relationships, and I'm realizing I have to change my tact. So with Koari, I'm just going to be myself.
And here's where I think we have some really excellent personal growth from Ed. It shows that you're never too old or too dumb to be able to change for the better. And I think this is a result of his therapy that he says he was going to, with Liz and everything. But realizing that he's been playing a character in order to meet these women and have them fall in love with him and, be everything he's not, is not a long-term viable option for a good relationship. Instead, he's going to be attacking this one as himself, which, honestly, there's a lot of parts of Ed and little facets of his personality, I would say, that are hard to mesh with, and it will definitely take a specific type of person to want to be with him, but that's pretty much every single person's plight in the dating world, you know what I mean? This is a great moment of teaching for Ed to, just say to the audience, you guys don't have to change in order to find love. You can be like Ed, who's a goofy person himself, and eventually he's gonna find a person who loves that goofiness instead of loves the image that he's portraying to them when they first meet. And that's why stuff like Liz and Rose just didn't work out, because he was simply portraying a character upon meeting them first instead of showing his true self.
Let's do this. I'm smelling good. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. Oh, man. It's raining. I'm like, what the
So before the date, Ed has to, experience a tiny bit of rain, which absolutely derails his entire life at this point. I mean, show me that you live in California without showing me that you live in California, basically. This dude is so accustomed to the sunshine that any little bit of rain is literally raining on his parade. He's walking and he's like saying on the commentary, at this point, I'm just kind of reconsidering. Is this a sign? Is this just how good this is gonna get? Like, I don't know if I should have done this. I came all this way just to get rained on. Like, dude, forget the weather. You're sitting inside for this date, I'm assuming. Worry about your first date that you just flew, across the globe to see this woman for the first time. Worry about that instead of the weather, please.
Koari, Koari. Koari, Koari, Koari.
So in typical Big Ed fashion, he sits there just twiddling his thumbs. I don't know if this is a plan for the show for him to always show up first to the date. I'm guessing it is so that they can be set up and then, it's not bad lighting by the time she gets there. But he's always just sitting here with too much time on his hands. And here he just has to routinely go over her name pronunciation, which you'd think is something he'd iron out before he flew, again, across the globe to meet this woman. But that's not how Ed rolls, okay? He's still trying to get the pronunciation down literally 5 seconds before she walks in. But now for the moment, let's see how cringe this date is. I am ready to strap in for the awkwardness.
Hello.
You smell good.
Beautiful. Oh,
Smell
thank you. Yeah.
Perfume.
See?
Hey, he smells good. That's a good start, honestly. I mean, a distinguished gentleman like Big Ed has got to be walking around smelling like an absolute delight. I just know it. I'm assuming we're going to see very quickly, though, that this language barrier makes things a bit awkward, but if anything, that might be a little bit of a buffer for the awkwardness, much like it was with him and Rose, where they have that, downtime where it's pretty common when you're speaking with someone who isn't quite fluent in the same language as you, that you're going to have awkward pauses, and it feels less awkward as a result. Instead of him speaking to someone who knows perfect English and them realizing that he's just a terrible conversationalist. And the most ridiculous thing is that she literally says something about his red shirt first off, which I did not think that was gonna work, but she literally says that his red shirt combined with his red skin and looks like fire, which is literally what he just said in that hotel room. So, I mean, Ed's drip is already paying off. This woman is the perfect match for him. She likes how he smells and she loves that he's just beat red all the time. It's perfect.
Si hablo español, ¿me entiendes? ¿O no?
Entiendo, poquito entiendo.
Me da mucho gusto conocerte.
Oh, you're cold?
Conocerte.
You're cold?
He literally says, I know a tiny bit of Spanish, and then immediately doesn't understand what she's saying. Like, I gotta admit, he's trying here, but as someone who has a mother who speaks Spanish, you really dropped the ball, Ed. You could have been taking lessons from her your entire life and actually trying to maintain your culture, and yet here you are unable to have a conversation with this woman that you really are trying to date in your mother tongue. But you know what? I say the same thing, and I literally don't know any of the languages or cultures of my ethnicity, unfortunately, so I'm in the same boat. But it just shows that when you move to America, you kind of lose all your flavor and you eventually just start being a boring person, if that makes sense. Hot take, I know, but I feel like if Ed was bilingual king over here, he would have been slaying this date already.
I can't believe you're here. This is great.
I know.
So I got a surprise. Took sage, and I blew them on your stones.
And honestly, this was kind of a good move by Ed here. The gift that he brings her is something that really came from their conversation where she talks about her love for spirituality and rocks and stuff like that. Basically, she's just an edgy Tumblr girl, and Ed, you know, made good use of that. He even says here that he could have went out and bought her a Gucci purse, much like he tried to do with Liz and Rose, which is impressing them with his wealth that I don't know if he has or not. I'm guessing he makes a pretty good living because, you know, he's got all those colored Vespas with matching helmets. Those aren't cheap. But this route, again, he's trying to be more himself and not trying to wow them with parts of his personality that he inflates. So that is a good move, and she loves the gift, which is great. You know, it shows that this guy has a little bit of humility, which I was kind of doubting after watching him all these years. I really just thought that he was unable to, you know, react emotionally or connect with someone on an emotional level, but he's doing a pretty freaking good job so far, so props to Ed.
Te ves de 22. Te ves de... You look 22. You do. I mean, you know, you look very young.
Okay, never mind. We're back to the old Ed ways. Literally, I need to just put my foot in my freaking mouth. This dude busts out the freaking Morpheus glasses without the, you know, side pieces that go back to your ear. I guess that's good portable reading glasses for him, but the immediate thing he uses for Google Translate is trying to say, you look like a 22-year-old. You know, next after that, he should say, I used to only date 22-year-olds, so I'm glad that you look like one, even though you're not. And then I could tell people that I tried dating someone my age, even though, you know, they look way less old than me. What is this man's obsession with 20-year-olds? You know, it's kind of freaky, but I guess she takes the compliment well. On to further awkwardness here.
Swimming? ¿Nadaba?
See, my hotel, we have a muy bonita swimming pool.
We can to do
Whenever you want. Like, I'm...
competencias.
And despite their need to use Google Translate throughout the date, it's kind of flowing good here. They're even setting up plans for after this date of what to do on the trip. They're gonna hit up his cool swimming pool and have a swimming competition. Things are looking up for Ed right now, and I'm honestly kind of shocked. I wonder if TLC was filming this like, he's not doing what he usually does. Where's the content? Like, this is going way too smooth. We need him to crash and burn. We need something bad to happen.
Come on.
First place.
Carlo can be the judge.
Yo puedo ser primer lugar.
Okay, and when I said that, I was not meaning that bad thing happened. So all of a sudden, these people come into frame and they're like, move, move, no, no, no. And I was wondering what was going on, if they were getting kicked out or what. But then you hear gunshots and they literally go to hide in like the chef's closet of this restaurant. And they're hidden there for a long time. And I honestly thought about leaving you guys off on a cliffhanger, much like they did on this episode. But I'm going to touch on a tiny bit of the next episode here in this video, just so we get a tiny bit of, you know, resolution from this. But quite an insane event. I mean, this was not planned by TLC, obviously. I don't think they would fake this. Everybody who's here, including the staff, looks incredibly traumatized, and it turns out that this was a police incident where they were having a disagreement with another form of law enforcement, and one fired a gun into the air or something after they hit their car as a warning. I don't know what it is, but either way, everybody's shooken up, and I gotta admit, I would be too. That is about worst case scenario in any time, you know, especially on a first date though. That's gotta be a pretty traumatic event to go through together, but who knows, maybe this will make their bond even tighter. Let's see how he responds and see if Ed is a good gentleman in taking care of her feelings and her worries after this, because that's what he should be tending to.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed with you because my city
No.
no es así.
No, listen, that had nothing to do with your city. It was just a coincidence.
And again, Ed is kind of doing well with this whole comforting thing. He's showing a human side to him, which I think is going to really help his dating life and this relationship with Koari. And he's comforting her and telling her that it's not, you know, her fault that this happened, obviously, and that it doesn't change the idea of where she grew up at or where she lives currently, because, you know, you can see that she's quite shameful. She doesn't want him to think that he just came to Mexico and there's shootings every other day. It's not really like that, especially in the area that she lives in. And I'm glad he understands that and consoles her on that point. Overall, I mean, he's just sitting here hugging her and telling her everything's gonna be okay and being very patient and making sure that she's good as well as the crew. So I gotta give it up to Ed. He stepped up to the plate here and he was a big man in this scary situation that I think a lot of us would not really know what to do after, you know what I mean? But I do think that is going to be where we wrap up this episode. I don't want to, you know, continue to where they go to his hotel room afterwards and they figure out, you know, what other kind of dates they do. That is going to be coming up in the next part. I did want to split it up, obviously, because I'm recording this voiceover. It's pretty long at this point. But let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments below. Do you think it is a smart decision that Big Ed ended up flying over to another country to find international love once again? Or do you think that this is going to crash and burn, much like everything else we've seen Ed do on this show? Honestly, I'm kind of excited for him, and I think this new leaf that he's turning with trying to be his own self in front of this person that he's trying to date is really going to help him, and I have high hopes for this, despite, you know, obviously wanting it to be cringe no matter what. I do want to see the guy happy in some capacity after trying this long for love. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, Grim Squad. Again, I hope you have a great start to your year, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace out.